All right, Fireside Talk number 2. It's early. You guys haven't even eaten breakfast yet, so thank you. You're all good. So feel free on this one, ask questions, whatnot. So, when we left off before, I said I was going to share some things about my childhood that, maybe you hadn't heard, maybe you have. But first and foremost, I grew up in a small town, state of Maine, right? Skowhegan, known for Margaret Chase Smith, who was a senator, who actually ran for president, who had thoughts of, I believe it was 1968. And she was known for McCarthyism as well. But really cool little town. I was blessed. Great family. Mom and dad were as caring, if not more caring than we are for you guys. Grew up in a Protestant family, and dad was in real estate. Everybody, they were very involved. So my dad was involved in all of our athletics. I don't think my parents ever missed a game. I don't think they ever missed a sporting event that we went to. No matter where it was. If it was far away, it didn't matter. They were always there. So friends, family, our house was kind of the headquarters. Even if I wasn't there, my brother wasn't there, our friends were there. So it was a really cool environment. We had woods behind our house. We could go out and explore for hours, come back at dinner time, whatever. It was awesome. So I'm really grateful, very thankful for my childhood. But things aren't always as they seem either. I was a smaller kid, right? So I was pretty short. Didn't have a lot of meat on my bones, especially when I was at your age. I just didn't. And that wasn't a big deal at first, but I look back and I'm trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together, and I think it did impact me in some ways, because when I was a little younger than you, I was sexually abused by a neighbor. So that, didn't know how to deal with that, right? Didn't know how what I did wrong. But I knew that I was small, and I knew that maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe I was weak. So when given the opportunity to work out, I did. And I sure as heck knew that if something like that was going to happen again, I was going to defend myself. So I look back now and I'm like, wow, something really good came from that. I actually, I work out still to this day. We have a gym above our garage. You guys are working out. So, it was good. When it came to schoolwork, most of my friends, and I had some really close friends, would say, yeah, Tim did well. I excelled. But those that were closest to me knew that I had to work my tail off. It didn't just come easy. I can think of certain people that I grew up with, Kevin McCullough, Chris Tibbetts, just some really bright kids that would sit there in the classroom and they'd hear the information and they'd be able to test and just do well. That wasn't me. I was the guy who I wanted to do well, and I must have had some kind of a learning disability, I'm guessing, because I would study for hours and hours. I would read. If it was history, I'd have to read that chapter 3, 4, 5 times, and then try to consume it. I should have paid more attention in class. I was trying to, but I was so worried about not getting the information. I was taking notes and doing everything, so I'd go back and look at my notes, and it was definitely an ADHD thing or something. But I had some struggles. But I did extremely well. I got straight A's most of the time, but people don't realize how much work I had to put into it to get that. So it probably laid the foundation for where I am today. I mean, you guys see how much work I do and how hard I put, I put a lot of time in. Get up at 4 a.m. most of the time, go to bed pretty darn early so that I can spend time with you guys in the afternoon. So I've got to go back to, me as a child. And I think the big thing that you guys have to get from all this is you never know what somebody else is going through, right? From the outside looking in, I mean, my parents didn't even know. Everything looks great. I lived on a great street, I was surrounded by great friends, but psychologically, I'm going through some turmoil. I'm always wondering why this happened, and it wasn't just once. It was repeatedly. Yeah. So, was it my fault? And that's a question you always ask. But one thing I've never lost, and actually this is probably accentuated, made it greater, is whenever I see somebody that's down, whenever somebody's I don't know what somebody else is going through, is what I'm trying to say. If somebody has a bad day and they react to me or they come at me from a different angle, a lot of people are quick to jump, right? And I've done that. I make mistakes all the time. This is about growth. We always are trying to get better, become better people. And what I've learned is you've got to hold that door for people. You got to be kind. Yeah. You got to smile. Do those things that are, they're free, right? But they could mean a ton to somebody else on the other side. I'm absolutely blessed for my parents and for, I ended up having this close-knit group of friends. I had a girlfriend, she helped me more than you ever know, throughout high school. And she had no idea. This is probably the first time she watches this, she's gonna realize that anything like this even happened. And I'm not making it about, that was one thing that happened to me in my life. But it's funny how things have a ripple effect, right? So you guys have this opportunity now to create your own story. And just know that I'm always here, your mom's always here, you have this village that's trying to raise you. And if anything ever feels wrong or off, come to us. Yeah. I was even at the point where, I had a facade in high school a little bit, it wasn't quite what it seemed, but I did always feel that I was vulnerable. And one of the things that happened to me, I needed to shift that, and I knew that when I went to college, I didn't want to be seen as somebody that was, smaller than everybody else. And I got to tell you, one of the first things, I look back now, it makes a whole lot of sense. And this is how I met your Uncle Greg. Is within, you guys know this story. We know within weeks of being in college, I got into a pretty big fight. And it was with probably the biggest kid. Well, definitely the biggest kid that I saw within sight. And what it did, and we became friends after, and Greg actually was friends with him. He came upstairs because it was one floor versus the other floor. And it wasn't justified. No matter what I tell myself, it wasn't justified. That was a mistake on my part. Like, hey, Greg became a great friend. And I learned, I met him through that. Would I have met him otherwise? Probably. But from that point on, everybody knew he may be smaller. Don't mess with him, right? So what it did for me psychologically was it set the tone. So we're always trying to set the tone. But again, violence is never the way to go. Yeah. I've made my share of mistakes, and I'm one of these people that you either fight or flight, right? So it's like if you can't deal with it, can't figure out a solution, you run. Run away. Or if you're forced to stay and deal with it, you fight. And that's not the way that this should be done. So again, I am growing all the time, and hopefully my mistakes and the things that have happened to me in my life, and again, I got to go back to this. I'm so grateful for my parents, so grateful for everything that they've done for me and all my friends. But the true story is here. It's mental illness, I'll call it, in this country is a huge thing, and I like to feel like I'm pretty darn mentally sound. For the most part. I still do some reckless things and a little out of control, which rubs off on you guys, I'm sure, but it's fun. Definitely on you. But that's for today. I think I shared a lot. Yeah, this was pretty overwhelming. This was big, and for me to be able to say this to my boys, it took a lot for me. So I appreciate you guys being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Now, anybody that knows that from back home, God rest your soul, Charlie, Jason Kelso. But the story of Charlie has been passed on to these guys, and that's where that comes from. So loved playing Little League in South Industrial, and Charlie was a big part of that, and all my friends from back home. But hopefully this is helpful. We're all going through things. I just want everybody to know that out there. You know, stress, anxiety, fear, it's there. So questions for me?
No, pretty straightforward.
Not really.
Yeah.
That's it. This was your chance.
Pretty straightforward.
All right, love you guys. And it's April break right now, so I can't say go do your homework.
I'll have no homework.
How did you say that?
I'll have no homework.
Sounds to me like the way you phrase that you maybe you need to go have a little homework.
Thank you.
Edumacation.
That
I ain't need no edumacation. Okay, we've got some room to grow. Love you guys.
Love you.
Love you, dude.
They what?